Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Robb Hunter, who is a visionary leader and innovator in the business and hockey sector. Robb, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. Excited and delighted to be here.
Hey, I'm looking forward to chatting with you because I am a student of the marketing industry, and I love when people have a specific sector that they focus in, and I don't think I've ever interviewed someone that focuses on the hockey sector. So give us a little bit of your background and what led you to kind of gravitate toward the hockey sector and then pair that with marketing expertise.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Looking forward to our chat today. And yeah, so back when I was studying for my undergrad, way back when now, I was in information systems at St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia, Canada. And just moved out there, didn't know anyone. And in a way to try and meet friends, I started volunteering at the campus radio station and just having a lot of fun doing that. And one day was able to find some equipment in the back room, asked what it was for, and they said it was to do remote broadcasting. You could go anywhere and broadcast from there, and I asked if I could take it down to the hockey rink, and they said, by all means, go ahead. And so I started broadcasting hockey games for the men's and women's teams out at St. FX, and just had a whole lot of fun with it. And as I was taking my information systems degree, the dot-com bubble was bursting, and I realized, you know what, maybe I don't like computers all that much anyways. And so I figured out how to get into hockey. That's what I was most passionate about, and ended up with a bit of a broadcasting career for quite a while before realizing that I really love the business side of the sport. And so to be able to transition from doing hockey play-by-play into working with a junior A hockey team and then into a Western Hockey League team, and now back being able to help run the business side of a junior A team. Really, it's been quite the experience and quite the long trip.
Yeah, neat. And I love how it's like, well, here's what's in front of me. Let's make the best of this, or let's, take the equipment down to the rink and then see what happens. And I'm certain that you could probably point to times where it's like, because I was doing this, I met this person, and because that introduction led us. And that's just the way that life and business works. You have to always be aware of opportunities. I think that's really, really cool. So then tell me about your marketing background and your MBA. I always love, I've got an MBA specifically in marketing, so I love talking to people that say, you know what, that undergrad was wonderful, but we got to take it up a notch. What was that in your experience?
Yeah, it was interesting. As I was doing the play-by-play, I had a chance to become a marketing director for a restaurant group. We owned a number of franchise steakhouses across northern Alberta. And to be able to do the marketing for that, it was a little different than doing marketing and sponsorship sales for a hockey team. Because you're on the other side of that table when you're doing marketing and sales for a hockey team. You're typically going to businesses like restaurants and asking them to sponsor your team in exchange for advertising and trying to get them to give you your money. Whereas now I was being pitched by folks who were running hockey teams and saying, hey, could we partner up? And so it was neat to sort of see that from both sides and seeing what it was that the hockey team needed to try and be successful. And then certainly when you're spending advertising dollars from the restaurant side to be able to make sure that you're getting what we were looking for with regards to return on investment. And so seeing that from both sides was quite the experience. And then working within the hockey group to be able to move on and continue to grow. I've discovered a program through Athabasca University, which is all online, through the Business of Hockey Institute that offers an MBA specifically in the business of hockey. And once again, just being able to continue your education was important for me. If you're not continually learning, you're being passed by in the business community by someone else who is. And so it was important for me to be able to continue to learn. And I thought the program was fantastic. And I think it's been successful for me to help me with my future job perspectives.
Yeah, I really agree. I love when you can kind of combine two different industries, and and then when you can bring technology to that. So let's start talking about now marketing for the hockey industry, because, like you said, you're running the business side of a team. I think a lot of people just think, I show up, I watch a fun game, yay. But in reality, there's a lot that goes into bringing awareness, and some of the same marketing techniques, let's say, or the same principles that you hear in your education in MBA, it has to apply in a campaign. So, you have to capture someone's attention. You have to determine your true target audience. What are the demographics of a target audience? And I'll bet you that you would say, when you work for a team such as whatever team, that could be totally different than the audience demographics of a whole other team, because maybe the way that the team is made up or their location. So speak a little bit about when you start looking for opportunities to market for a hockey team, what are some of the things that you're watching for?
Well, certainly you're paying attention to what hockey teams across North America and even throughout Europe are doing, and you know what, stealing an idea is and making it your own, and making small adjustments and little touches to it that, like you say, will more directly impact your particular audience, and what you're looking for is always important. I think people say, well, you're marketing hockey to Canadians. How hard can that be? But at the end of the day, it's not so much that you're marketing hockey, but you're marketing time. You used to just be able to open the doors and people would come and watch 3 periods of hockey, and that would be the event. Whereas now I'm looking at it as you're marketing 2.5 to 3 hours of people's time. They could come to your rink and watch a hockey game, or they could stay home and watch Netflix. It's no longer that you're competing for just the entertainment dollar of the community of, well, I could go watch a movie, or I could go to a play, or I could go out and have dinner with friends and family and spend that money. But now you're also just competing with them for their time of, well, maybe they could just stay home and, like I say, watch Netflix. And so you've got to find a way to make sure that your event is as entertaining as possible throughout the 2.5 hours of the 3 periods of hockey, and making sure that the fan experience on ingress and egress and throughout the time that they spend in the building is the best possible experience for them. As opposed to, like I say, it's no longer just about 3 periods of hockey. It's about making sure that 2.5 hours or 3 hours is an ultimate experience for the fan that will make them want to come back once again to your building.
Yeah, I think it's all about that user experience, and it reminds me of that old quote from Maya Angelou, that people will forget what you say to them, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And so I'll bet you can even integrate that in with some of your marketing, like, hey, come to our game because. And then if their experience is lackluster, then it didn't really do much for them. But if they're walking away from that game going, that was a fun time, the game was fun too, but wow, we did this and we did that. So what are some things that you have seen that are innovative, that really make that user, that attendee experience a fun time?
Yeah, I think it's identifying the different types of people, different types of fans that are coming to your game, and what it is that they're looking to get out of your game. And so you'll certainly have the hockey fans that will come, and they'll know every statistic on every single player and the entire history of the franchise that you've been working for, and they will intently watch the hockey all throughout. You'll have the little kids that want to go and play mini sticks in the corner and just want to try and get away from mom and dad for a little bit and have fun. And if you can get the mascot out to interact with these kids, that's what's going to make them excited to come back to the rink, and they're going to bug mom and dad when they go home. When's the next game? Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? And then you'll also have the folks that spend 3 periods of hockey in the beer garden, and they won't even really realize that the game is over, and by the end of it, they won't even have watched any of it at all, but they'll have had a great time with their friends. They'll have run into folks that they know, and they'll have maybe seen, folks around the community that they hadn't seen for a while, and it's more of an engaging community event and a coming together of the community that is what is important for these people. And so recognizing the different demographics that come into your building and what it is that they're looking for, and not trying to be all things to all people, but offering the availability to try and be all things to all people is certainly important when you're trying to fill your building up.
Now, a thought came to mind, and this is just the way that my mind works. So this might be something that you say, oh, that happens all the time. Or it might be, ooh, we need to write this down and start developing this. So here it goes. I'm thinking about the phrase community and user experience, the attendee experience. And you're thinking about, it doesn't matter the size of the team or the game. It could be a community. It could be a major league team. But I would venture to say that, like you said, you want people to come and feel that sense of community. Wouldn't it be cool to have, like the arena would have their free Wi-Fi? So you make all the announcements, signs and announcements. Hey, jump on our free Wi-Fi, and when you do, you will be into our app, our team app. And the neat thing with that will the old experience would be, what if you could determine, like, oh my word, I haven't seen my friend from high school, they're here. I see that, on the app, it notifies. It may be kind of like a social media kind of a feel where it's like, you may know, or, because you went to this school, you probably know this person, or because you like this, in other words, wouldn't it be cool to go, hey, at the next break, meet down at Concourse, whatever, and, let's catch up. Is there anything like that could be possible that would really engage people to come there and then maybe stay, not longer because the game ends, but you see where I'm going with that, to really create that sense of community?
Yeah, it's fascinating to see the technology and how it can be applied to junior hockey or even teams at the NHL level. And community is so important for. The NHL has, or the National Hockey League has the big TV dollars and the major revenue, and they're going to, certainly in Canada, sell out buildings on a consistent basis. But teams at lower levels have to find a way to attach themselves to the community so that their fans don't sit at home and watch that National Hockey League game. Yep. They come on out and watch the junior team. And so, they're smaller rinks usually, so you can usually see everyone from around and run into folks that you know. And that's a great part of being involved in the community. And that's, to me, the biggest challenge right now of what COVID is presenting is that these teams, in my mind, that are most successful with regards to marketing at this level are the ones that are most heavily involved in the community. But the challenge is right now the players can't get out into the community while still following the safety protocols associated with COVID. And so that's the challenge of how can you continue to interact with your fans in a socially distant, fun, and entertaining way. One of the things we're looking at doing here now is starting a bit of a running club where our players will go out into the community as a bit of dry land training and go for a run somewhere. And then we'll post our players' times through an app of here's the route they ran, here's where their times were. Can little Johnny or, even old Johnny, can they compete? Can they walk the same path? How do they do? And you know what? Whether you beat their time or you don't beat their time, at least you got out, you got active, you did something along with our team. And at the end of the day, we'll maybe throw you a T-shirt or reward your participation for interacting with our team in what we're considering a socially distant way. So that word community that you mentioned is just so important for these teams to be able to be a part of their community and to encourage people to come on out. But right now they've got to do it in the safest way possible.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to find, you think about COVID or uncertain times. At this moment of this recording, COVID we're dealing with. But guess what? COVID's going to pass at some point, and we're going to kind of catch our breath and kind of go, okay, yay. And then something else is going to come up. So there's always going to be uncertain times. We can't get away from that. So I think that the lesson we can pull away from that is we have to get inventive and creative. And how can we have these creative engagement, marketing, promotion activities using the best way possible in the resources that we have. So if it's COVID or it's not. And I really think that there's going to be things that we've come away with going, you know what? We had to do things this way, but now that we don't have to, doggone if they weren't really fun. So let's keep doing this and this and this. So do you think that some of those activities that you're describing and even planning can have a life, in years to come, and maybe it's a wonderful way to engage the hockey community?
I think it's a very exciting time to be a marketer in the sport of hockey. Traditionalists have always sort of ruled the game of, no, this is we need to play music when the whistle stops and or when the whistle blows, and then when they drop the puck, the music stops, and that is it. It's a very traditionally run sport, and I think there's always been a little bit of pushback for anyone who wants to try anything that's crazy and off the wall. But right now, with the world changing and everyone expecting things to be different, now is the time to throw things against the wall, see what works, see what sticks, and just try things. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's a game of hockey. Yeah. We aren't solving the world's problems here. We aren't coming up with a vaccine. We're just entertaining folks and having a good time. And so let's not take ourselves too seriously. Let's have fun with this. Let's try new and exciting things. And at the end of the day, I bet you there's going to be some real creative, exciting things that come out of what we're going through right now that are going to stick within the game of hockey and not go back so much to the traditional 3 periods of just watching a hockey game.
I really like that idea a whole lot, and I think that a typical, manager, boss, team owner, whatever you want to think of, would kind of cringe and go, "Oh, traditional, we always do it this way." Well, you know what? Flip it up. How about this? Does it mean you have to change your whole business model overnight, 100%, never to go back? No. Why don't you just pick one time and let's just go crazy Thursday night, crazy October game. We're going to do it this way and just see what the fan reaction is, whatever the change up would be. And it doesn't mean we're going to change things forever, but what if the audience and the crowd all of a sudden just are going bananas over how whatever that it was, like, oh, we love this. It was fresh. It was new. It was whatever the case is. And I think that that's one of the takeaways that we need to be aware of, is no matter what the industry is, but right now we're talking about hockey, how do you get those fans way more engaged than what they are? For instance, I think that too many times people watch TV, but they're really not watching TV. They're in front of the TV having a TV program going, but really they're on their device on whatever app or social media site. So we need to keep that from happening, probably from the attendees of your games, right? How do they engage in the game?
And that's certainly a case to, again, draw it back to community of if you do something fun in your rink, in your community, that, like you say, is if all of a sudden we've done something different and the fans go nuts, that almost becomes a part of their experience as hockey fans in their community. Well, this is how we did things here, and this is different than anywhere else. So there might be a hockey game an hour and a half down the road against our big rival, but in their rink, they don't do things the way that we do because we're special. We do it this way, and this was a way that we came up with it during, these trying times, and so that we tried something new, and it stuck, and now that turns itself into its own brand and its own branding measure for fans who then get excited. You know what? We do something special here that they don't typically do in hockey rinks across the rest of North America.
Have you ever read that book by Seth Godin called Purple Cow?
I have not, no.
You need to read it because it's excellent,
okay.
Excellent. He's a marketing thought leader, just got wonderful strategies. But this particular book is all about how to be memorable. And he opens it up talking about, hey, if you're driving down the country and you see a cow, you just look over and you keep on going because it's a cow. You know what a cow looks like. But what if you looked over and that cow was purple? You would slam the brakes on your car. You would jump out. You would be taking pictures. You would be pointing because it's purple. How can we purple cow our business, our game, our audience? So that's exactly what you described, because sometimes the very best marketing happens virally. And I feel like I'm in marketing, but I feel like I don't think you can make a viral video. I think you need to have certain elements of a video that can go viral, but it just happens. And so I think that some of the best marketing for a hockey team is going to be that experience, but making it be worthy of being remarked about. That's the definition of being remarkable. So what are those factors that you've been talking about here, and even more that you can add in, right, that would make the fans go away going, I am a, devoted, I'm going to go wherever. I'm going to go on the road with them for that matter because it is so amazing. And they tweet about it, they Facebook, they Instagram about it because it is their, purple cow is that feeling of this is so unique. So I think that's a really neat approach that you're taking.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it has to end up being fan-driven. You can try new marketing ideas. You can try new things within your arena. We're going to chant something after every goal, or we're going to say this to the opposing team right before the anthem starts, and that sort of thing. But if it feels forced, if it's, hey, it's coming from the marketing department and we're forcing fans to try and do this and we're ramming it down their throats, it's probably not going to take. But you know what? If you can encourage it, if you can, foster it in some way, but then let the fans have their opportunity to take it and grow it and let it be their own, that's where you're going to end up having a lot of success.
100%. And guess what? I don't think that we could come up with the top 3 ways to accomplish that. I think that it has to be something that is going to be thought out and planned for that specific team, because it what works for one team might not work for another. And that's why you need to have that creative mind from the perspective of, okay, let's get into the ethos and let's get into the culture of the team and let's learn about the fans and let's actually, this is a crazy thought. Let's go talk to some of the fans. Let's have a focus group, whether it's a live Zoom or whatever. Let's get a feel from the fans. What would you like and what do you experience and how do you like to do whatever? And now all of a sudden you're learning and taking that and folding that into some of the experiences that they can have when they come to watch those games. And then you get that feedback and then you do a little bit of more of this because it worked and a little bit of less of that because it didn't work. So I think that's a really great point.
Exactly, and like you say, you never stop learning. You don't just watch what other hockey teams across North America are doing. Once again, you look to see what they're doing in Europe, and you look to see what other sports are doing as well. Can you take something from what they're doing in minor league baseball? They seem to be the most creative, out-of-the-box thinkers when it comes to marketing. Is the folks in minor league baseball don't seem to be too afraid to really pull off sort of any stunt or promotional activity. And so, is there something that you can maybe borrow from there? Something from outside of the realm of sports. What are they doing down at your local theater? Are they, is the art group doing something that's working? Is there some art group from somewhere else, in a different province, a different state that is something that you could adapt that would work well within your community? At the end of the day, it's about never stopping to learn. I like to think that Sidney Crosby, the great hockey player, didn't get to the National Hockey League and then decide to stop working out because he made the National Hockey League. Well, no, he continues to push himself every day to make himself better. And we need to do that from a business side of the sport as well. We don't just get the job working for the team and say, well, now I've got the job, I'm just going to keep doing what we've always done here before. At the end of the day, you have to continue to learn, continue to push the boundaries of what it is that you are trying to do from the business side of the sport.
100%. I think if we had a microphone, we'd just drop it right there. That was an excellent way to end. So thank you so much for coming on, and I really appreciate your time. And I've got the direct link to your LinkedIn profile, so I'll make sure to put that into the show notes. So if anyone would like to reach out and connect with you and brainstorm on some neat ideas, that would be a wonderful way. So thank you, Rob, for coming on to the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike. It was a pleasure.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.